Speaking of Donald Trump, I was stunned and amazed by his new White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that role.
Democrats in the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a
Speaking of Donald Trump, I was stunned and amazed by his new White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that job. Democrats in the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary. The world of daytime television is no stranger to controversy, but this time the drama unfolding isn't just about the usual roundtable debates. Instead, it's something far juicier, something that has left audiences divided, critics outraged and producers scrambling. Buckle up, because the ladies of The View have landed themselves in serious hot water, all thanks to a young, sharp and unapologetic conservative who is shaking things up in Washington. Meet Karoline Leavitt, the youngest White House press secret. She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10th secretary in U.S. history at just 27 years old. She's making waves not only in the world of politics but also across the media landscape, and let's just say the hosts of The View did not see this coming. Let's set the scene. Karoline Leavitt, fresh into her role as press secretary, steps into the White House briefing room for the first time, but unlike many of her predecessors, she doesn't rely on binders, pre-written notes, or carefully rehearsed talking points. Instead, she delivers her statements with confidence, poise, and directness, proving she's more than just a political figure. She's a force to be reckoned with. But instead of recognizing her as a trailblazer yesterday, they really pissed me off, and that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here. Oh yeah, let me explain something. The women of The View took a very different approach, and by different we mean downright demeaning. During a recent segment on The View, longtime host Joy Behar couldn't resist making a comment that has since gone viral for all the wrong reasons, where suggested that Leavitt was only given the press secretary position because, in her words, she's just 27 years old. But boy, was she giving it to the Trump haters in her first White House. According to Donald Trump, she's a 10. Yes, you heard that right. Leavitt's entire career, her qualifications and her hard work were reduced to nothing more than her appearance. And it didn't stop there. Whoopi Goldberg, never want to shy away from controversy, chimed in with her own take, claiming that Leavitt wouldn't even have her position if it weren't for what she called wokeness. According to Goldberg, the so-called woke culture is the only reason women like Leavitt have a seat at the table at all. Isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when day is all about based on look? The backlash was immediate. Social media lit up like a Christmas tree as critics slammed both Behar and Goldberg for their remarks, calling them out for their hypocrisy. After all, isn't The View supposed to be about empowering women and supporting them regardless of their political affiliations? Apparently that support only extends to women who align with their worldview. As expected, the internet had plenty to say about the situation. One user wrote, if a Republican said anything remotely like that, they'd be crucified. No, it's not so. First of all, and I have had my objections to the job that Karine Jean-Pierre did, but she worked in politics for 21 years, 5 presidential campaign, and worked in 2 at another. Pointed out disgusting anti-woman. Joy Behar says Karoline Leavitt got her job because of her looks. Imagine if someone said that about a liberal press secretary. The outrage would never end. And let's talk about Leavitt's qualifications for a moment, because if there was ever a time to shut down the argument that she's unqualified, it's now. Press secretary at the White House, doing a great job, such a great job that the ladies of The View feel the green monster coming upon. Before stepping into her current role as press secretary, Leavitt already had an impressive track record. She served as the national press secretary for Trump's 2024 campaign, worked as the communications director for Representative Ellie Stefanik, and even had experience under former press secretary Kayla McCann during Trump's first term. On top of that, she ran for Congress in New Hampshire, winning her primary before narrowly losing in the general election. Yet The View hosts didn't seem to bother doing their homework. Don't like this woman, she's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked, and when Leavitt finally had the chance to respond, she did so in a way that left jaws on the floor. During her next press briefing, Leavitt didn't hold back. She called out mainstream media, and by extension shows like The View, for their blatant bias and hypocrisy. We will hold the media accountable for their lies and smears, not just against President Trump but against anyone who dares to stand up for what they believe in, she declared. The room was silent. You could practically hear the sound of microphones dropping. But if you thought that was the end of the controversy, think again. Litt's response went viral with social media even factoring in that she's a NIC-looking lady. I love that the Liv's attacks on conservatives right now are that we're hot floating in support of her. One user wrote Karoline Leavitt is a masterclass in handling the media. Another added she's not just smart, she's fearless. The Views should be ashamed of themselves. The backlash against The View was so intense that the hashtag #HCancelTheView began trending, with many calling for ABC to take action. Reportedly, ABC executives have been thrown into full-blown panic mode, scrambling to figure out how to contain the damage. Rumors are swirling that some producers are even considering whether Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg have become liabilities to the show, and honestly it's not hard to see why. This isn't the first time The View has found itself in hot water for controversial comments. But this time it feels different. If there's one thing networks care about, it's money, and when advertisers start pulling back, things get serious. Sources suggest that several major sponsors are now re-evaluating their partnerships with The View, worried about being associated with what many are calling a toxic environment. They don't want the headache. One insider claimed when money starts to walk, networks start to listen. Adding to the chaos, former employees of The View have begun speaking out anonymously, alleging that behind the scenes the show has a pattern of unchecked behavior that extends far beyond what viewers see on television. What you see on TV is just the tip of the iceberg, one former staffer reportedly said. Behind the scenes, there's a lot more that never makes it to the surface. With this scandal reaching new heights, many are now questioning whether The View can survive in today's media landscape. More viewers are turning to independent content creators and podcasts for news and opinions, leaving traditional daytime talk shows struggling to stay relevant. They need to cancel the show. One fan wrote, "They are so disgusting and immature. How they can make a career out of what they do and live with themselves is beyond." And speaking of lawsuits, there's talk that Karoline Leavitt may be considering legal action against The View. If true, this could be a game-changer. ABC has already been hit with costly defamation lawsuits in the past, and another high-profile case could be the final nail in the coffin for The View. Imagine the irony: a show that prides itself on being a platform for women's voices being taken down by a young woman they tried to dismiss. You couldn't write a better script. While The View faces its reckoning, Leavitt continues to thrive. Her first week as press secret AR has been nothing short of groundbreaking, with major reforms to the White House press room. She's opened seats for independent media and restored access to journalists whose credentials were revoked in previous administrations, while critics like Sunny Huston claimed this could allow unqualified individuals to spread disinformation. Lit supporters see it as a step toward greater transparency. Love her or hate her, there's no denying that Karoline Leavitt is changing the game. As for The View, they might want to start rethinking their strategy, because this time they've picked a fight they can't win. What do you think? Should The View be cancelled for their comments, or do you think they'll manage to bounce back? And what about Karoline Leavitt? Is she shaking up the White House press room for the better? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned for more updates. Something tells us this story is far. Music, 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 music.